AITA for telling our parents my brother is getting married? My brother got kicked out when he was 14. A freshman in high school. He was going around telling people he was kicked out because he was gay, but that's not true. We knew he was gay. Our dad was a pastor. So he told my brother to keep it a secret at least until he graduates. My brother just had to tell his friend though. I tried to help him and be there for him. But there was only so much I could do. My parents financially supported me, so I couldn't go against their wishes. My brother, now 24, reached out to me. We've been communicating every few months. But he told me he was getting married. I went to dinner at their house. I thought it would be just the three of us. But it was a dinner with his friends and his friends' parents. The friends' parents are the ones he stayed with when he was kicked out. And they seem to think that makes them his family. I asked my brother if our parents knew about his engagement. And he told me they didn't. He doesn't want a relationship with them. And he doesn't want them at the wedding. I told him he was being childish. He needs to get over it and forgive them. The only reason they never let him come home was because he was shit-talking them around town. He has a chance to show them he's the bigger person now. And to apologize. I went home after he wouldn't listen and I told our parents everything. I gave them his number. Apparently, they called and tried to talk to him. He hung up and blocked them. Then called me to scream at me for giving them his info. He told me I was an asshole and uninvited to his wedding. AITA, or was he just overreacting? YTA. No. Your brother does not need to forgive them. Regardless of the reason. Your parents kicked him out when he was a child. Your parents suck. Also, is the friend you're referring to his fiancé? They seem to think that makes them his family. It does. YTA. It is your brother's wedding and his rules apply to that wedding. Your feelings don't matter in that scenario. Why did your parents kick out someone who basically just reached puberty? What was the reasoning? YTA. I hope this is fake. How awful. You minimized the pain your parents caused your brother. Your parents kicked your brother out of the house when he was too young to drive. They told him to hide his identity from his community. He made clear that he doesn't want a relationship with them now, and you stomped his boundaries. Without a lick of compassion for him. You also minimized and dismissed his chosen family. You don't sound any better than your parents. YTA. You and your parents are both awful. You're also wrong. Your brother was kicked out for being gay if he was kicked out because he told someone he was gay. Telling your child that they must hide who they are in order to remain in the home is homophobic and cruel. Telling people the truth about why he was kicked out is not shit-talking around town, it's literally just telling the facts of what happened. If your parents look bad, it's because they did something bad. You just betrayed your brother. Again. By proving that you're 100% on your parents' side and you don't care about your brother's happiness. He told you explicitly that he didn't want your parents to know, and you told them anyway. You clearly don't believe your parents have ever done anything wrong, and you don't deserve to be in your brother's life. I'm glad he's found a partner and a chosen family who love and support him for who he is, and he shouldn't ever talk to you again. YTA. If your brother is gay, and he was kicked out of the house simply for being truthful, then he was kicked out of the house for being gay. Saying he was kicked out not for being gay, but for coming out to friends, is a disingenuous lie. And yes, the friends who took him in when your parents kicked him out for not being a liar are much better family to him than any of you are. And what the hell kind of evil pastor kicks a child out of their home for not bearing false witness? Your father is a pastor. If your brother came to him and asked him to officiate the marriage in his church, in front of his congregation, would your father do so? If not, then you and your father have no business complaining when your brother doesn't want your father involved in a wedding he'd refuse to perform. Have your parents apologized for trying to turn your brother into a liar? Have your parents apologized for kicking him out? Have your parents apologized for treating him like a shameful secret? Have your parents changed their ways? And are they willing to treat your brother as a fully accepted member of the family? And be open and proud to their community and church about who he is? Are your parents prepared to accept not only your brother, but any and all LGBTQ people as full and equal members into their church? To be welcomed and included in everything, including being married in their church? If not, then he can't forgive them, because the harm they are doing is ongoing. And if he was simply telling people the truth, that he is gay, that he was kicked out of the house for coming out as gay, then he was not shit-talking them. The God-honest truth is not shit-talking and giving contact information of your brother to your parents, who have done him great harm, are continuing to do him harm, and who are punishing him for telling the truth, is an utterly aw thing to do. YTA. You're saying that he wasn't kicked out for being gay. This is such a lie. Being forced to keep your sexual orientation a secret is a horrible thing to force upon someone. Your parents kicked him out because they were ashamed of having an openly gay son, and that's horrendous. Your behavior is also appalling. You show a complete lack of comprehension and regret for the awful treatment of your brother. The friend's parents are the ones he stayed with when he was kicked out, and they seem to think that makes them his family. I'm so happy to hear your brother has a chosen family in his life that love and care about him. When your biological family sucks, it must be pretty amazing to have people that really support you. I hope your brother goes NC with all of you. YTA. 1. Your parents kicked him out because he was gay. Point blank. End of story. He shouldn't be expected to deny part of who he is because your parents have a reputation to uphold. 2. That friend's family is his family now. 3. I hope he goes NC with you after this. He asked you not to tell them, and the second you could, you did. 4. Your parents should be asking him for forgiveness, not the other way around. ETA. Another thing, what makes you think you have the right to give someone's information to someone who they don't want to have it? That is a huge breach of trust, and I now hope even more he goes NC with you. YTA. I don't have enough nasty, but justifiable names to call you. YTA. Your tone comes off as self-centered and homophobic. My brother just had to tell his friend. As if coming out as gay is a valid reason for parents to throw a minor out on the streets. Did any of you actually give a shiz about his feelings or what his life must have been like? Also, it is never okay to give people's personal information without asking them first. This doesn't just apply to your brother who you don't respect. You and you parents are horrible people. So according to your first paragraph, he did not get kicked out because he was gay, but because he told people he was gay? And that is somehow different? The rest is also problematic. YTA. But I'm so intrigued by that logical pretzel you've tried to make yourself and your parents seem like better people. Also, he needs to forgive them. What have they done to ask for forgiveness? What have they done to deserve forgiveness? Honestly, asshole is too nice of a word. YTA. He was kicked out because he was open about who he was. You chose your parents supporting you over what was right. Then you basically disrespected his wishes about his own wedding. He is right, cut you out of his life, and not have you in the wedding. Also, the people that took him in are his family. Blood doesn't define family. Support and love do. Of course he was kicked out for being gay. People don't tell someone to keep their sexuality secret if it's not an issue. Buying into your parents' line is your first YTA move. YTA move number 2 is you thinking you get to decide who his family is. YTA move number 3 was invalidating his feelings and boundaries. YTA move number 4 was telling your parents when he told you he didn't want them to know. YTA all the way. Congrats on alienating your brother. YTA. Without a question. But I'm a little confused by your first paragraph. You say that your brother was lying when he told people he was kicked out for being gay, but then you proceed to explain that he was kicked out for telling people he was gay. Which means he was kicked out for being gay and your brother was not lying at all. Also, there is no valid reason for kicking a 14-year-old out of the house. That's child abuse. Regardless, you severely violated your brother's trust, and I can't blame him for banning you from the wedding. He was 14. How was he shit-talking your parents? Oh yeah, my holier-than-thou family abandoned me. How dare he? And your dad's a pastor? Did no one question where his child went? YTA. A huge one. I'm sorry. When you say, his friend, do you mean the person he's marrying? Because they are his family if he's marrying into it. And if they took care of him when your parents tossed him out. That also makes them his family. YTA. You are such ta. You are possibly the biggest I've seen today. He trusted you. He let you back into his life knowing you ate up all the BS your parents fed you but hoping you would be better. And you ran to your parents at the first given opportunity to rat him out. He specifically said he didn't want a relationship with the people who kicked him out for being gay. And you gave them his phone number. Also, my brother just had to tell his friend though. The only reason they never let him come home was because he was shit-talking them around town. Victim blaming much? Your parents wouldn't let their teenage son come home because he was trash-talking them. Imagine if every parent refused to let their kid come home because their kid said something mean about them. Your parents kicked him out because they're homophobic garbage who expected your brother to be happy with living in the closet for the sake of your father's reputation. And you proved you're just as bad as they are. Good for you. YTA. Your brother has every right to not want a relationship with his parents. Do you realize how messed up is what your father did when he asked him to hide who he truly is for the sake of your father's reputation? They kicked out a 14-year-old child for, in fact, being proudly gay and not hiding it. They lost any right they had to any kind of relationship with him the moment that happened. They should be ashamed of themselves, and so should you for thinking you have any right to say to your brother to get over what was probably the worst type of trauma he could experience. Then you go and tell them and give them his info without his consent? What did you think would happen? Those people who took care of him when your family kicked him to the streets are in fact his family now. And you are the one who needs to accept that. You just ruined any chance you had of having your brother back in y'all's life. YTA. The only reason they never let him come home was because he was shit-talking them around town. How tone-deaf can you be? They kicked him out of the house at 14. It's pathetic to throw a sibling under the bus to curry favor with bigots. YTA. YTA, he opened up and tried to trust you and you broke that trust as soon as you possibly could. YTA, and so are your parents. His friends' parents are his family. It's not whether they seem to think it. He sees them as family. He doesn't have to be the bigger. It's not childish, it's being self-aware as he knows he could never truly forgive them. You on the other hand are very childish for your actions.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.